This year, a massive uprising in Iran, with students at the lead, brought tens of thousands into the streets. They were protesting what they say was the fraudulent re-election of President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad in June. Tehran has orchestrated a brutal crackdown with show trials, detentions, and stiff sentences for dissidents.
We've seen in the last few months the rise of a very oppressive, almost police military state.
Tom Malinowski is with Human Rights Watch in Washington. Iran is one of the hot spots he monitors. He says there has also been progress in human rights over the last 40 years.
I accordingly declare Mr. Nelson Mandela duly elected President of the Republic of South Africa. On behalf...
I think there's a greater awareness around the world that people have fundamental rights, that those rights are enshrined in law, both domestically and internationally.
Like in Afghanistan, he says, where the government has failed to protect women from Taliban harassment. Or Russia, where journalists and human rights activists have been murdered. Or Burma, where democracy leader Aung San Suu Kyi has been under house arrest for most of the last 20 years. But there are glimmers of hope, Malinowski says. For example, an international arrest warrant has been issued for Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir for alleged war crimes. An estimated 300,000 people have died, with millions displaced, in Sudan's Darfur region, in a conflict between government forces and rebels.
The indictment itself a significant punishment. He cannot travel to many countries around the world, and I think ultimately his fate will be strongly influenced by this indictment, if not decisively determined by it.
Malinowski thinks the prospects are also dim for Iran's current government. The opposition remains strong despite the crackdown.
It will be hard for a hardline dictatorship to survive in Iran for the long term, given that it has very little legitimacy and popular support.
Regarding the United States, he has hope in President Obama, who has banned coercive interrogations of detainees. Malinowski hopes the president will be forceful even with countries he hopes to cultivate, like China. Beijing clamped down hard this year on minority Uyghurs in western China. And the prominent political activist Liu Xiaobo remains jailed 1 year after his detention. Laurel, Bowman, VOA News, Washington.